Alright, let's solve majority element. In short, what we need to do is we need to return the most reoccurring number, most frequent number in the nums array that they gave us. So in this example, 3 appears twice. It appears the most time compared to any other number. In this case, it's just 2, so we need to return the 3. In this array, the most reoccurring number is 2, so we need to return 2. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to create a map that stores integer to integer. And we can call this map equals new hash map. So what we're going to do is, as an integer or as a key, we're going to store the number itself, and as a value to that key, we're going to store its frequency, or the number of times it appears in the array. So to do that, we're going to iterate through our nums array. So for every int number in nums, map.put that number as a key, and as a value, map.get or default number or 0 plus 1. So basically, map.put the number which we're currently on, and as a value, we're either going to get the value of the number that we're on if it exists. That's what map.get will do. And if our number does not exist as a key in that map, we're going to or default 0. So we're going to give that number which we're currently on a value of 0. And regardless if that number exists or 0, we need to add 1 to that value so we can take into account the number which we're currently on. So for example, map.put, let's say we're on the first element, map.put 3, and as a value, get the value of key 3, which doesn't exist in our map initially. So instead we're going to default to 0, and then we're going to add 1 to account for that 3. And then if we go to the 2, map.put 2, again it doesn't exist, so we're going to default to 0 and add 1. Now we have a map that contains a key 3 with a value of 1 and a key 2 with a value of 1. We reach the final 3. Map.put 3 is going to overwrite the original 3. And since 3 exists in our map, we're going to get the value of that 3, which is 1, and we're going to add to it 1 so we can account for the final 3. And our final map is going to have a key 3 with a value of 2 and a key 2 with a value of 1. So now we need to return the key with the highest value in our map, and the way we're going to do that is by first creating 2 temporary variables, one of them called max and the other one called temp. One thing I would like to point out is that you may assume that the majority element always exists in the array. So basically we always have a solution. So now what we're going to do is we're going to iterate through all the keys in our map.keyset. Map.keyset will retrieve all the keys in our map, and then we're going to iterate through all the keys in our map. Now what we're going to do, we're going to check if the value of the current key which we're on is greater than max. Then what we're going to do is, so if map.get key is greater than max, then we need to update our max to be map.get the value of key. And within temp, we're going to store the value of key. And finally, we just need to return temp, which has the value of the key with the highest or the most reoccurring key. So let's submit their code and see if it works. Wrong answer because I made a syntax error. I put semicolon instead of a bracket, so we need to close this. There we go, much better. Okay, let's submit now and see if it worked. Okay, there we go. So let's go through an example very quickly. If we go back to example 1, we know that our map contains 3 with a value of 2 and contains 2 with a value of 1. So let's say we start at 3. If map.getKey is greater than max, so the value of 3, which is 2 greater than max. Yep. So map.getKey, now our max is now equal to map.getKey, so our max is now equal to 2, and our temp is going to be equal to key, so 3. Then we go to the next key, which is 2. Is the value of 2, which is 1, greater than max? No, because 1 is less than 2. So we're going to skip this, and then we exit our for loop because there's no more keys, and we just return temp. So that was the majority element problem on LeetCode. I hope you found that video helpful, and thanks for watching.